Welcome everybody to this edition of Beers with Bill. It's my great pleasure to welcome back Melanie from Charlotteville Brewing Company. Melanie, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
It's always a pleasure. It's always fun to come down to the farm and see what's going on and visit with you briefly, because I know there's always work to do.
Yeah, it seems like it.
I can imagine there's probably very few moments where you're not busy.
Yeah, but I'm trying to I'm trying to make that different. I'm trying to have a little bit more work-life balance. And when I'm not busy, it works really well, but when I get busy, it just goes to shit. So I think I have something to learn still.
Which brings me to like the sixth or seventh question I usually ask. So with everything that's gone on over the last while, how do you relax, unplug from everything?
Honestly, hanging out at the farm, like my mother-in-law lives just across the road, and that's where I stay when I'm down there. And in the summertime, it really is quite nice. She has a fairly, she has a nice property. It's an older farmhouse, but she's got like a little pool, and she's got like a deck that goes with it. So on a Sunday afternoon, which is typically when I try to kind of unwind if I can for a little while, I just kind of hang out on the veranda and just try to read a book, have a beer. Just I'm close enough to work. If they need me, I can go, but other than that, they know kind of maybe don't call Mel and try and figure it out on your own.
I hear you. You've had so a couple of people on staff have been with you for a while.
Yeah.
So I was online and looking, because Jackie and I were down a week ago, just to have a beer out in the patio and a quick snack. And I recognized the one girl. It's like, oh yeah, she was here last year. Yeah.
The Emily with the red hair has been with us since we opened, actually. Yeah. So, and it's been really, it's been great to have her there. She's what does she call herself? My ride or die girl or something. I don't know, this young vernacular. I'm not really sure what that means, but anyway, yeah, she's pretty awesome. She's great at her job, and she's slowly trying to teach the other staff that we have on board with us some of the tricks of the trade, so to speak. So it's been good. I know a lot of people have been struggling quite a bit with trying to retain staff, and that's definitely something that that we too have had some trouble with. But earlier this year, we really tried to focus, excuse me, a little bit more on how we could make a place, how we could make the place better for our staff. And so we offered, I think it was in April, we started offering a living wage. We were already paying a lot, we were already paying more than minimum wage to begin with, but we started legitimately, I guess, paying a living wage for people in the area. And we also put together a modest benefit package for them. So they, have the opportunity to, they have the opportunity not to have to worry about all that kind of stuff, right? They can go get their teeth cleaned. They can, get prescriptions if they need them. They can go to the doctor and not worry about how am I going to pay for this. So I think that's really been beneficial for us. And the people that we had hired prior to, because we've got 2 staff that are now celebrating their second year with us. I think that was part of the reason for them to stay on with us, because of what we were able to offer them. And so it was something that we wanted to do for a long period of time, and it was something it was just like, all right, this is it, we're just going to do it, and we went for it. So it's been pretty good. In Norfolk County, I think we're next to the Libro Credit Union, we're the only other business that's offering a living wage. That's that understands what it's for potentially. And there might be others that are paying more money, but they haven't kind of come under the living wage umbrella, which I think we need to have more businesses doing that.
Well, that's fantastic that you're doing that, especially where you're located.
Yeah. Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about the English Mile.
So first, the English Mile just came out. It's I've never done anything like this before, so I thought we'd give it a bit of a crack at it. I do think it tastes, I like it. Well, I like any beer better on draft than I do in a can. But it's it's crisp, it's clean, it's a beautiful color that I'm liking. It's a little bit sweeter than I kind of wanted it to be, but I think in general for a first crack, it's not a bad beer.
So when you're doing something new, do you source your recipes online, or do you have a database that you've developed over the years that you work from?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Like sometimes like I'll be listening to podcasts or something like that, and I'll get some different ideas on how to swap out, different grains or something like that. That might be an interesting way to move forward with a recipe. And sometimes it's just like, I don't know, I just use I don't want to say skill, but it's like it's just like, what would I like to drink, or how would I put that together? And a great example, I wanted to send it to you guys, but I couldn't, because it's a nitro beer, and we haven't kind of wrapped ourselves around putting nitro in cans yet. But it's called the Deconstructed Treat. And I don't know, looking at some of the faces that I can see, if I was to say to you, can you remember back in the day a chocolate bar that was called the Cherry Blossom? A couple of people are shaking their heads. So that's what it was kind of like. So it was just like I don't know, I like dark beers, and so it was just like, I haven't made a porter in a while. What can we do? And so it was just like, what kind of goes into that? And you just kind of take it apart and then look at the ingredients and kind of go, okay, how can I replicate this in a beer format? So it turned out pretty good. And that was a first crack at that too. But some cherry puree, some chocolate malt, a little bit of toasted coconut goes in it. We had some hazelnuts in there and stuff like that. So you kind of got this. With the nitro, you have this like kind of beautiful mouthfeel going on. So it was kind of fun.
We're 2 years into the pandemic. I'm wondering what your opinion is. How has that affected the craft beer industry? Like, how has it changed?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really speak for a lot of people, because I really like meetings like this are the only time that I'm really I've got my head up. Most of the time it's just down and I'm just working. And a lot of stuff kind of passes me by. And I feel bad that I'm not, engaging more in the industry, but at the same time, I just I don't know. At the same time, I just kind of have to do what I do to make our business run. But I think those that just, if I can paint with a very general brush, I think those that the craft beer industry has either seen people kind of how can I say it? Kind of walk away, like they're either like on board 100%, or they're starting to kind of move away into different things. And so, I mean, things like seltzers and maybe non-alcoholic beers. And I think they're a little bit more, they're paying a bit more attention maybe to the end drinker. and that the end drinker is getting younger, and they don't necessarily want, the style, like the craft beer that we like to go out for sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Yep. So yeah, I think if you're paying attention, to the trends, then yeah, you're kind of they're maybe looking at that, and that's, don't get me wrong, that's a good thing. It's just not, it's maybe just not our thing, like seltzers and stuff. I really have no desire to make those types of libations, and I think that's okay, because there are lots of other people who are doing it, and they're doing a very good job at it. And so why reinvent the wheel? Let the people who are good at something take over. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, not everybody has to do a seltzer, because there's all kinds out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I probably am not really answering your question well, and I apologize for that, but I'm just trying to be, transparent. Yeah. You're
answering my question very well.
Okay.
You didn't have an opportunity to see questions beforehand like I usually. So
no, that's
so
okay.
you're getting caught off the cuff now.
That's okay.
Jen, I got to backtrack a little bit. Jen was curious. Do you do a test batch first, or do you just go all in when you make a new beer?
Sometimes I do. Like some of the older recipes that we kind of still that we're still making, they were all done from an experimental batch. So, you get the homebrew system out, and you kind of put a little something together, and then away you go. And if it, we put it on tap and people can taste it, and we kind of get some feedback that way. But in the last few years, where we haven't really had a consistent amount of people coming through the tap house, just because of COVID or whatever, at different times of the year. If we've got downtime, obviously that's a great time for me to kind of go, okay, what am I going to do? So at that point, for me to make a batch is great. But if I don't have anybody to kind of sell it to or give it to, because we're not necessarily supposed to be getting together, then like I'm just drinking by myself, and I don't know. I do enough of that already. I don't, I don't really want to be using it as a catalyst or an excuse for more drinking. So then, yeah. So instead, I just kind of researched a little bit more, and then started to maybe I tried to get into a little bit more of the science behind stuff, which I don't have a really good a background in, because I didn't go to school. So I really am just like kind of, okay, this looks good, that looks good. I know that these flavors pair well together, and I'm just I'm going about it like that. So does that answer your question, Jen? Yeah. Okay.
So I'm curious, because you say you don't have the science yet. You're a trained chef, which is crafting foods, which is crafting flavors.
Yes, that's true. That's true. And don't get me I just,
Are you trying to imply we can't seriously discuss the chemistry details of craft beer? Is that what you're implying? That's okay if we don't. I truly appreciated your description about the nitro beer the porter you just did, because you just talked about it in terms of taste and flavor. These are the things I was looking for, so I put this in and this in and this in.
Yeah.
That's the science of food.
It is yeah, it is. But I guess to some, that might not be, I'm sure that there are people in craft brewing that are just like shaking their head going, what is she doing? So that's all.
And I would like to say, I think there are people in craft beer that are going, wow, I wish I could do it the way she's doing it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I guess I just don't think about it like that. Yeah.
I'm going to start on the second beer before I ask the next question. So what's the second beer we're going to try tonight?
Sure. So why don't we do why don't we go for the Goza? Okay. Okay, and the Goza has the wrong name on the can, just as an FYI. So this isn't actually called There She Goes Again. This is called Toes in the Sand, and it is kind of a tropical Goza. We've put some, again, kind of looking for, like, I love Gozas. And so it was just like, okay, what am I going, like, what do I want? Where would I honestly, my question was to myself, where would you like to be right now? And where I wanted to be was on a beach somewhere, not in Canada, because it was still a little chilly outside. And then it was like, okay, how about we try this? And so I wanted something that had some nice kind of tropical fruit to it. So I used a mango puree in there. And we also have a little bit of passion fruit in there as well, puree. And then a little bit of vanilla and just the coriander and the salt to kind of round it off. Unfortunately, I can't remember what I hopped that with, but it wasn't anything like uber crazy. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wish I could remember. I thought I had my notes with me, but they're in my other bag. But you can get some nice, citrus on the nose and stuff like that as well. A little bit of mango. Yeah, so this has been a very popular beer over the course of especially the last month. We've just been burning through it, especially on a hot day. The ABV, although it says 3.4, both of the Gozas came in the same, around like 3.4. It might be 3.9, like it's not super high, which means it's just nice and sessionable, and people are certainly enjoying it. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it.
Now, when I was there Sunday, you and Jim were canning. So did you buy a modest canning line?
It's pretty modest. Yeah. It fills 2 cans at a time. Like it drives me crazy most of the time, especially when I see, the mobile canner comes in and we're doing like 100 liters in 5 minutes, and we're lucky we're lucky to do 10 in 5 minutes. So it just, yeah, some days I just want to put a bullet in my head when I have to do canning, but you just kind of get on with it. So I'm actually trying to train somebody else to do it, so I don't have to. But yeah, don't get me wrong though, I do love it. It's a great piece of equipment, quite honestly, and we would have been lost. We purchased it initially when COVID started, when everybody kind of had to pivot into cans, and it was really good to have that kind of available to us, because trying to get a mobile canner was just a nightmare at that point in time. They were so busy, and yeah, so from that perspective, it's good. But I was just, when was I was at, Wishbone, that is just over in Waterford. It's in Norfolk County. When was I there? Just in the springtime. And actually, that's not true. Maybe, yeah, in the spring, early spring. And they were showing me, because I had not been to their facility before, and they were showing me around, and they have like a sweet little canner that can do like multiples at a time. And it's I was like, damn, I had canner envy. But yeah, it is what it is.
Him enjoy doing it?
He does, like, because quite honestly, the job he has is at the university, and he really, he just is always thinking like all the time, and canning is just something like all of his focus has to go into it, and he doesn't really think about anything else, and that just it really kind of keeps him calm. Which is nice. And he doesn't find, like, he just kind of gets his own pace, and away he goes. And it's a nice bit of reprieve from his regular job. So so it's like, all right, guess what? You, you get to can all the time.
He seemed to be enjoying it when I came in that on Sunday.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It was like just focus. And I was like, oh, he's loving it because he's just focused on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So you still bring the mobile canner in on a regular basis?
Yeah, 100%. Some of the larger, like for our flagship 519 and things like that, we're always doing that in a bigger batch. And right now it's wedding season, and we have a few places around that really like the amber that we do. So, we just kind of bring them in, and we just, stock the cans right up to the ceiling, and then just go for the summer. And we know we're going to move through it all because they just, they're buying a lot of it at one time. So it's great. Yeah.
Are you doing keg sales to restaurants?
A few. Yeah,
Yeah.
a few. Not as many as we would like. A lot of the places that are in our local area are seasonal places, and they tend to like to take cans, which I guess makes sense. Because they just don't have the capacity for drop taps, or if they do have the capacity for draft taps, the taps are all owned by like macros, and they can't put the micros on. So yeah, I wish we could do more, because I do like it, but it's just not in the cards down there. We're starting to move into London just a little bit. We tend to have kegs at the Grad Club, which is at the university, and we also just we're coming off of the London Beer Fest, which was a couple of weeks ago. And we just got a keg of that porter I was telling you about in Milosh, the craft beer emporium there.
Yep.
So I'm hopefully that will, I hope that will lead to other nitros going in there. But if it doesn't, then it's okay. But I hope it's a way to, it's a nice way to get our foot in the door. At such I feel it's a pretty prestigious place for craft beer. You don't,
Yeah, he is.
Who love it go there, Yeah.
So Mike raised the question that I was going to ask next. And that was, are you doing any consumer level kegging? So someone coming in and getting keg for his kegerator at his house.
Oh yeah, 100%. We've been doing that since we opened on day one. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure I probably should put the prices up on the kegs, but I haven't. So they're still, people are still paying, what they paid in 2018 when we opened. So, and I'm okay with that, because it's nice to be able just to move the beer that way as well. And it's good. It's good. So please, yes, for sure we are. Typically, we're good to, most of the time we're good to deliver if people are interested in it. And depending on, where you are, we can kind of swing by if we're in the area. But if not, then usually you just have to come to the brewery and see what's available, or give me a call and just say, hey, what have you got going on? And then, we can get it sorted. So we mostly work in 20s and 30s. Yeah.
See a lot of books behind you. What is your favorite reading right now?
I don't think you would be very interested in it, but well, maybe you would be, I don't know. It's an environmental book. And it's just talking about how we eat and how it's potentially, it seems a bit grim, how it's killing the planet. It's always good to read these things and there's some context in there that's true, but I'm reading it, with a grain of salt. That's all. So that's what I'm reading. And I just picked up this today. Sorry. These today. Sorry. So you can see where I still am. at Great Tastes. So it's a cookbook about two girls in New York City and what they're tasting, that kind of thing. And then the food and wine innovators issue. I don't know, that's not color, it hasn't gone bad, that is purple. So I saw that and thought, what the hell? So yeah, I got those. So that's kind of my reading right now. And I literally just got the latest issue of Craft Beer and Brewing. So once I get those done, that's the next one. So yeah.
Yep. Carrie, who's not with us tonight, always asks singular questions. So I've gotten a habit of asking it.
Okay.
What beer have you tried? And it doesn't matter if you go back pre-COVID. What beer you tried that when you tried it, you just immediately went, and this is his words, damn it, I wish I'd made this beer.
I don't know. I guess it would depend on the day, but there's lots of beers out there that I really love. I think, just off the top of my head, I was at a conference one time, and the beer was from Dogfish Head, and it was a peach beer, and it was one of the best peach beers I've ever tasted. And it's pushed me to want to make peach beer, and we've tried, and I still haven't succeeded at getting that element that was in that beer. It was just absolutely fantastic. So off the top, that's one of the first ones, but they happen, they're going, oh man, and then it goes away. Yeah.
Well, kudos to you for trying. Peach beer's got to be one of the hardest ones to nail.
I'm finding that. Yeah. I think it just depends on the other things, the other ingredients that are there to support it. Yep. And that I'm slowly starting to wrap my head around. So 2 years ago, we did a goza that had some lactose in it and peach. And it was, people really liked it. They said, oh, when are you going to do it again? And it was like, well, I'm not, because that wasn't the best beer that we could make. So, so then, I'm trying to, I think I might throw my hat in the ring again this year, just to see once peaches come out. Right now, I mean, I know it's quite hot and we haven't had a huge amount of rain, but we've just been processing strawberries for the last little while for our first seasonal this year, which is a strawberry rhubarb wheat. And the berries are absolutely phenomenal this year, like so ripe and juicy and just beautiful. So I can't wait to kind of get the fruit in the beer. It's made and ready to go. So I just have to transfer it into secondary and let it hang out for a little while. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. So
that sounds intriguing. And yes, this year's been a great year for strawberries.
Yeah, sorry, that's where I was going though, but I think it will be great for the rest of the fruit too. Fingers crossed. So I'm hopeful that we've got cherries coming on now in our area, and then peaches usually follow that quite quickly. So we usually do a cherry goza that has a little bit of kaffir lime in it, and then we'll do something new with the peach again. So a little bit more research, and hopefully I'll be there.
Which beer are we going to try next?
I haven't yet taught I'm here by myself, and I haven't yet taught my cats how to drink beer. So I'm going to probably refrain from having this one with you.
That's perfectly okay.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that we talk about all four beers. So
no, for sure. I think we could do All Wound Up, which is the hazy IPA.
Yep. And why haven't you got your cats drinking beer yet?
Well, they're old and they're slow, and I don't understand what's going on, but they just don't. I can put as much catnip in it as I want, and they still don't want to drink it. So yeah. Normally, if we're here, my husband's here, so he just takes, the beers when I'm done with them, or I can at least share them with them. But I still have to do some paperwork after this. So 4 beers in, I don't know if my numbers are all going to add up.
After we go off the record, let me tell you the story about the phone call I got with somebody ran over the cat, which is not what happened. The cat was drinking my son's beer.
Oh boy. Okay. So the hazy that you guys are having is one that we've done. It just came out it came out last year, and we kind of keep it on for throughout the entire year almost. But it should have it has a nice grain bill in it. We use a little bit of the Golden Promise in there, and a little bit of wheat in a like malt and flaked. And then we end up, there's quite a big hop list that goes into it. And so we are looking at some Centennial. We put in a little bit of, sorry, I'm drawing a blank. It starts with an A. Can anybody?
Zaka?
No.
Okay.
That's yeah. It's okay.
Amarillo?
Yes, that's it. So some Amarillo, and Centennial, a little bit of El Dorado, and I keep mixing up. Kind of with the profile just to see whether or not I can kind of change it a little bit to get more tropical fruit kind of flavor on the nose. There isn't any, there's very little bitterness in this. We don't actually, I don't hop it in the whirlpool. I actually start to cool it down and then put the hops in. So it's mostly just aroma. And then we do a heavy dry hop again with the Amarillo, the Centennial, and Citra. That's the other one. Sorry. Yeah.
How are you finding prices this year for ingredients and supplies?
Killer. Yeah, one word. It's yeah, I've seen well, not a little. I think anybody who's in the craft beer industry right now has seen a huge hike across the board in everything that they're buying, from cans to grain to yeast to any of the other adjuncts that you might use. It's significant, yeah, to say the least. And for some companies say that they've been bleeding for years, that they've been kind of keeping it away from the customers, so to speak. But yeah, and they just couldn't do it anymore with COVID and all that kind of stuff, and with the price of tax, like the price of gas at this point in time. So yeah, we're starting to see a more, if you will, realistic price potentially for it. So I'm not really sure. I'm a little bit concerned with the war in Ukraine still. A few weeks ago, I was hearing, there's 20 million tons of grain sitting there. Yep. How is that actually going to affect us? Although it's a long way away, there are still a lot of things that this war has kind of cracked open, and it's basically exposing how fragile our food system is. So I'm hopeful that we'll make some changes with that respect, on how we move forward with certain policies and stuff. But I don't think that because it's so far away that we're out of the woods. I think it will impact us. I'm just not sure how badly it will impact us.
That's very true. It will impact us.
Yeah.
We've only seen the tip of that iceberg here because Ukraine wasn't a primary grain supplier to North America. No. But the people that it was a primary grain supplier to has now been buying up South American grains because that's the only ones they can get.
Yeah, exactly.
And that will have an impact on us.
Very true. Very true.
What's next for Charlotteville?
Well, I really, I want to kind of get through this season. It's festivals have started. And so we're just, as I mentioned, we are just coming off of the London Beer Festival. We're going to be participating in the Toronto Festival of Beer in a couple of weeks. We've got, I think, an iHeart Beer Festival coming up, maybe again in the fall, with a few smaller ones in between. So it's a busy time for us on that respect. And this is always the busiest time at the brewery. So if I can, what's next? If I can just make it to the end of September, I think I've done a spectacular job. Then beyond that, yeah, my husband's been on my husband has been on holiday for the last week. And he's 2 weeks holiday, and he's going into his last week, and he's finally starting to finish off the pizza oven that he's been working on since 2019. So yeah, we'll see how far he gets on it. Fingers crossed he gets a little bit done. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think that's really like the next kind of level for us, is to ramp up. We'll still continue with the, beers and some different beers that we're going to be making, trying, that kind of thing. But at the same time, I'm also looking to develop the food side of it. We still keep it quite snacky and things like that, which is good. People don't, they're there for a short period of time. They're not coming to kind of have a full-on meal. It's usually something that is, in between or on a stop. So the food we have kind of works for us for right now. But yeah, we'd like to develop pizzas for next year to get that up and running. So the infrastructure that's associated with that is going to be a little bit more involved than just Tim finishing the pizza oven itself. So and getting people to staff it and things like that. So that's going to be next. That's kind of what we're looking forward to next year. And then beyond that, it's hard to say. I'm not really planning too far ahead right now, and maybe I should be, but with COVID still kind of here, and I'm not really sure what to anticipate. So if we just kind of keep it small and work at doing the best job we can with what we've got, and making our place a cool place for people to come and hang out and imbibe and nibble, then so be it. That's good. We're doing well then.
Where's the pizza oven?
So if you've been,
I've been there. Is just outside the door.
Yeah, it's the rubble, the heap, yeah. The pile of rubble right now that has kind of three sides, and everybody looks going, what is that? So we just make up stories. I encourage the staff to get creative. They're ruins from, ancient times. And yeah, so some people just laugh, and others are like, no, really? I was like, no, it's not. Like, look around you. So yeah, just to have some fun, tease them a little bit, but that's where it will be. That's
what I thought, but I thought I should ask.
No.
For those of you who have never been there, it's a fantastic space. I absolutely love it. I got dive bombed by the barn swallows when I went over to look at them, because I love barn swallows. Mm-hmm. They were being very territorial on this Sunday I was there.
Yes, they do the same to me. Yeah. Trying to take a picture, don't even bother.
No.
Yeah.
That's very true. And I love, you are going to tell me that you found all those tractor hoods for the tables in the backyard, right?
Sure. Yeah. They were found in the rubble pile. Yeah, it's ancient. They're ancient. No, some of them were ours, and others we've purchased from auction. Okay. And it's just, my husband saw something on Kijiji that he was like, hey, that'd be really cool. And then they just went down that road. So it was good. Yeah. People seem to really like them. They think it's quite interesting to sit at this contraption. Yeah.
Yes, I know. I was listening to the people coming out and going, "Oh, look at that over there. We're going to sit over there."
Yeah. He had well, it's nice. So it's wonderful. Like, so Norfolk County has a lot of older people in it, and many of the older people that are there, they will frequent the brewery quite often, on a Sunday afternoon. That's usually the early Sunday afternoon. That's the crowd that we tend to get in. And they love that stuff. They're coming and they'll talk to whoever is around them to say, we used to have a tractor like this. I remember my dad had this, or my grandpa had that. And, they tell a story. And, if you are engaged to listen to what they have to say, they'll talk your ear off, with stories about working in tobacco or another different, like a different type of crop or whatever. So it's lots of fun. So I think we enjoy having that stuff around and visible for them, because it feels homey to them as well, right? And it's not just the young Instagrammers that are are hanging out.
I have to go back. I missed a question from Mike.
Sure.
We were talking about yeast. He was curious if you have a primary yeast supplier, or are you sort of mixing it up?
No, I usually get yeasts from BSG. So when I do a grain order, I'll do a yeast order at the same time. And it's usually fermentus that we use. A friend of mine who used to be at BSG is now moving to Escarpment Labs. And so there might be an opportunity for me to try some liquid yeast. I've only ever really kind of used the dry yeast. So that's going to be an interesting exploration. She's trying to talk me into using some Kveik. So it's like, okay, well, let's see how that works. Yeah, so I'm curious to give it a try, and I've heard good things, and I've tasted beer that's used it as the main yeast, and they're wonderful. So hopefully it's something interesting that we can also add to our repertoire.
Yeah. Well, it will be an interesting journey when you start using it.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. Like I've heard it runs hot and hot and super quick with fermentation and stuff. So I don't know.
Super quick is the hardest to get used to.
Yeah. So I'm a little nervous, but I think it should be fun.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the last beer, and then I'll get to the next question.
Sure. So the last beer on the docket is the Wedgie Delight. It's a brown. It's a brown ale, and it's one that we kind of always seem to have one that's there, like a dark. We always like to try and have a dark beer in a can if we can, and this one has kind of stayed with us since we opened. And it's easy drinking. When people come in, they always say, what have you got that's light? And this is one of those beers that we say, well, what does light actually mean? Are you talking about ABV, or are you talking about color? And, it is, so we think that it's a darker color, like it's a darker beer, but it's a lighter beer. It's easy drinking. Again, it has a moderate alcohol level on it. You get, it does have, some malt. It has some roasted coffee in it, a little bit of chocolate. Things like that. The coffee is coming on a little stronger than we'd like it to, but it's still, I think it's still overall a good beer. We won a bronze for it at the Ontario Craft Brewing Awards last fall. So that was a positive to come out of it. and I hope you enjoy it. I tried to look back at my notes to see what you guys have tried and have not tried to make it different. And for some reason, I couldn't find it in my notes. So if you're tasting it again for the second time, I'm sorry. I've gone and made a specific, what's that?
Don't apologize. We have tried this one before, but it's also, a lot of people really enjoy that style.
Okay.
So I'm curious, with everything that's gone on for, like, while you were building the brewery and starting out with a hop yard and then moving into brewing, has there been any advice that you were given that you are glad you completely ignored it?
That's a good question. That we completely ignored it. I don't know if we really had any. I wish I don't know if we've had advice that we've just kind of said no thanks. At least off the top of my head, I can't really kind of think of anything. There are some things that I wish we had not done, or not, like, gone in a different direction. But those are just the growing pains of putting a brewery together, and you don't really know what you're doing. So
I'm curious about that.
About putting the brewery together and not really knowing what we're doing?
No, about the things where it's like, I wish we hadn't actually gone in that direction to start with.
No. So some of them, I think it's just, I think I've mentioned it before. It's just space, looking at a drawing and then looking at a physical space going, that can fit in here, no problem. And then we'll be able to do this and that. I wish we had more space. Like, it was gobbled up quite quickly. And, to the point where, like, on lean to 10.6, like, they're just everywhere, to try and facilitate storage of things. Like, we did not have that plan down very well. And that's kind of, it's cumbersome sometimes. So we're trying to make the best of it. But again, my husband said something the other day, and he was just like, this is, it's similar. If we ever, by the time we get to the end of this, after it's all been built, it's kind of like writing a master's or a PhD, right? You kind of get to the end, and then it's like, and you learn the lessons along the way, and you try to fix it as you go. But then the next time you go to do it, then it's no problem, right? Because you've written all the documents, you've done the test, you've done all of that kind of stuff. So the next brewery will be a piece of cake. Yeah.
I was just picturing, okay, so whose barn are you going to take down when they miss it and you put it up on your property?
Yeah. Don't laugh. The fellow who helped us, put this barn back up, just recently called us in the new year saying, I've got another barn for you guys. It's going to be fantastic. It's a circular barn. And I was just like, okay, that's what I need, a circle. Like, I need some squares. Like, I need things to put stuff against, not a freaking circle. Like, what is this? Oh yeah. So my husband is absolutely like, oh yeah, we should do that. We could put it over in that field there. And then it's like, okay, get out of town.
I like the idea, because I love the 8-sided barns, but they are totally useless. Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with that? So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So that barn is potentially an option, but I don't know. Quite honestly, I don't think that. I mean, the barns are quite beautiful, and we wouldn't do anything more to them than we're already kind of doing. But it really is something that. If we wanted to try something else, I think it would be completely in another location, and it would look altogether different from what we've got on the farm right now.
I can imagine that, because like you
Mhm.
said, you've learned along the way.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
I just, first of all, absolutely love the brick floor.
Thanks. Thank you.
You
That's
know,
an old house,
yeah,
that fellow with the
yeah,
round bar, and yeah, he took it down and gave us a smoking deal on it.
yeah, yeah. All I could think on Sunday was, I wish I could convince Melanie to let me come down and work in the kitchen with her for one day.
Yeah, by all means, come on down. You might be processing strawberries, though. You might regret that pretty quickly.
Ah,
No.
yeah, not at all.
I'm kidding. I'm
It's just
kidding.
like coming down and brewing on those copper sided kettles. I was just like, yep, those. So
Yeah, yeah, no, by all means. Anytime anybody wants to come and hang out for a while, I've got an extra apron and another knife. We we can always use the help, especially during harvest and when we're pickling and stuff like that.
so you have sort of a local clientele, and then you have the people who are coming down to a destination.
Yes, we do, for sure.
Yeah. So the bulk of the people coming down for destination, you alluded to the fact that a lot of them are from Toronto.
I think a good portion of them are coming from Toronto, or like the GTA, but no, I mean, we're pulling, we always ask where people are coming from just so we can have a better conversation with them. And so we're starting, we are seeing, KW, Cambridge, Guelph folks. We're seeing people that will come from Woodstock, Tillsonburg, London. We had probably a half a dozen different people coming through on Sunday that were from Elmer, which is like not very far, but just going the other way, right?
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, we're, as we get more known, I guess, I'm assuming the pull or the draw will, the area will get bigger. But I think for the people who are coming down specifically for destination, yeah, it's usually, the people from the GTA, KW, Cambridge, Guelph area. They're down Hamilton too, coming in hot for, wineries or breweries. They're going to a cottage, they're going camping, those types of things. So we just happen to be close to all of those.
Yeah. So are you doing like a social marketing program, or are you just part of, I'm going to say, because you're not in Norfolk, the county initiative to get people to come to the area?
Yeah, I mean, so we are associated with SWATC, which is Southwestern Tourism Association, and what else do we have? We have a wine growers association that's in the area as well, and a number of the breweries are associated with them, and so they have been able to get larger amounts of money for social initiatives, like tourism initiatives, to get people down. So that's been kind of nice. So we've been able to kind of piggyback in that capacity with what those guys are doing, and then just word of mouth and like our own social media or those types of things are pushing people to stop by and have a beer with us on a weekend. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, the fact that we've got lots of space, people feel comfortable. They can, they let their kids run around, and it's not a problem. Like nobody's gonna take them, and they can't really hurt themselves unless they face plant in the dirt. But that's good for everybody, you like you need to eat some dirt from time to time to know what it tastes like, and that kind of thing. We got little games for them and stuff like that, that they can play with, and we are dog friendly, so lots of people are bringing their canines and stuff like that. So it's nice to have them out, and it's just an easygoing space for them to chill in, to give the dog a break, give the kids a break, give the parents a break, whatever. So yeah, they're using us as a little bit of an an intermediate stop, I guess. Yeah.
Has COVID changed how you do your social media?
Not, I don't know, as yes and no, I guess. When before COVID, it was just like, I kind of loathe, to be honest, I kind of loathe social media. If I didn't have to do it, I'd be quite happy.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So before it was just post a story and then away you go kind of thing, or sorry, you post a post and then away you go and get something up on Facebook. And that was really it. But it really is when we've got, like, there's probably a half a dozen different places that we've got to go to let people know what's happening and what's going on. And so I try to kind of keep something up that is, telling the most information that I can, so I don't have to be changing it all the time, like Google Business and stuff like that. And then focusing on the quicker things like Instagram or Facebook. I absolutely refuse to do TikTok. We had this group, we sat with the marketing people, branding people, and it was like, oh yeah, you need to get on TikTok. And it was like, no, I'm sorry, that's where I draw the line. So, that kind of thing. But has it changed? I'm having a little bit more fun with just doing the stories and getting that information out quickly. Maybe it's because I'm getting better at it or more proficient with it. Then, it doesn't seem like it's such a gruesome task anymore. But other than that, yeah, we had to be quite honest with you, we had quite a heavy kickback on Facebook. That's really kind of just tossed me right off of that platform. If I could, I really kind of rarely post there. And it was just after mandates were lifting. So early spring, kind of in end of February, beginning of March. And mask mandates, or not mask mandates, but the vaccine passports. People were asking us, are we keeping them? Are we not keeping them? And we made a post just saying, you know what, guys, after, we have a small place. It's, built in the 1813, like built in 1913, sorry. It doesn't have the best ventilation, all of this kind of stuff. We put it out there, quite transparent. This is why we're making this decision. We're going to continue until the nicer weather comes, when we can open doors and windows. And then we'll drop the passport. And we were just like trolled and just stripped. Like, it was nasty. And I just thought, no, I'm done. Like, I'm done with this stuff. It was just really shitty. And I got a taste of social media that I really didn't like very much. So it's, after that, it was like, okay, so nobody can comment on anything. So that was a change from COVID. And I just, there's the information for those people that actually want it. And if you don't like it, I don't give a shit. Yeah. So nobody's asking you to come here and participate in it. It's like a no shirt, no shoes, no service kind of attitude is what we were taking. And this is our business. This is what we choose to do. And so it was a messy March, I would say, yeah, across all boards. So anyway, but yeah, so that's what happened. And I know it wasn't just us as well. Like, I know that there were, I think it's, is it Counterpoint? Is Counterpoint near you guys? Yeah. And they did a poll online, and I thought, that is awesome, right? And then I was incredibly jealous. They kind of came out and they were like, all right, we're keeping the passports, and everybody was like, yay, thanks, so awesome. And I'm thinking, what? I'm living in the wrong area of the county, like, or in the wrong in the wrong area of Ontario. And then, after a couple of days, the trolls kind of found their way in there, and it got nasty and kind of shitty. And so, but I mean, it is what it is. But I know we weren't the only ones, but kudos to those who kind of stood up and said, this is what we're doing. And if you don't like it, then don't come here, so. Yeah, sorry, that was a long-winded answer. I'm sorry.
Absolutely
Oh my
not.
God.
We're here to hear what's happening. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah,
It's kind of embarrassing with people behaving in that way.
I think so. Yeah. It really is. It really is. So, but it is what it is. So you live and learn.
Yeah. Well, that's been the process for all of us, isn't it?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Melanie, thank you for taking time out of your busy life to share your story with us again. It's absolutely been a pleasure. Jackie loves coming down to see your space and be there. So,
yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see you guys again. I think you guys should work on getting a little tour bus together and come on down. Yeah. Hang out for a few hours on a weekend sometime if you can.
Yep, we'll try and
we even have a baby what is that, little swing to keep them quiet. I used to use it to, I tried to use it to force carbonate my my kegs, my corny kegs. And it was like, if it still had the little music box on it. So my husband one time kind of came in and he revved it all up so you could just hear the little twinkle twinkle kind of thing. And then somebody walked around anticipating to see a baby, and there was this keg like swinging back and forth. Yeah, they just did a double take. And they just walked away. So yeah, but we could get that out for you if you want, Derek.
Did work for toddlers. This is what I'm dealing with right now. I don't know if you can hear it. He's just singing. It's a bedtime revolt.
Oh no.
I don't think I'm going to be able to stick around tonight, though. But,
okay.
Thanks a lot for doing this, Melanie and Bill.
Yeah, of course.
Always a pleasure to have you on and try your beers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Every time I've been down in the area, it's been the wrong time for when you guys are open. So maybe this summer it'll actually line up because I'd like to check it out.
Hopefully, that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. It'd be great to actually see you all like live and in person as opposed to the Zoom.
But I do second the idea of a bus. Bill, you got to get your bus license.
Oh, jeez. Sorry, Bill.
It's okay, Melanie.
Open that can of worms.
Just make sure there's a washroom on that bus, eh?
No, I was thinking of a 10-passenger limousine, okay? And if you get sick in it, you are paying for the cleanup.
That's good.
So again,
thanks,
Melanie,
guys.
Thank you for giving us the gift of your time.
You're more than welcome.
Mike McWilliams, most of you won't know him, is going to be on next week. Mike is a longtime kickoff regular, and he's over visiting from Copenhagen. And when I found out he was going to be there Tuesday, I said, well, look, I can come visit you, but I've got a show to do. And he goes, well, why don't you put me on the show? So that's what we're going to do.
Good stuff.
I'm intrigued. I've never heard of this guy, so I'm curious if I'll recognize him or not, given the amount of time I spent on kickoff.